if I be asked you
Yes.
then,
Yeah. Go on.
why don't you believe in God?
Oh, why don't I believe in God? Because I'm not sure that even if there was God, He wanted me to believe in Him or not.
Does being religious or spiritual
Mm-hmm.
or believing in spirituality
Mm-hmm.
affect your ability to aspire, grow, and dream?
I think it depends on the version of again, in fact, it depends on the version and also on the system.
Yeah.
I was giving you that example of the fact that look, culturally here people don't aspire. Britain has been embedded with Christianity for a very long time. It's
Yeah.
heavily embedded in the society, but the way the structures were carved out of of the system with Christianity,
Mm.
because it created that class structure, aspiration never really became a thing. I will give you one major difference. Have you ever really seen any white British person write any inspirational book? I mean, white Christian British
Mm.
person. Like, who are the popular white British Christian people that we know that write, inspirational stuff, talks, testimonies? Uh,
Do they
no,
still have?
I'm trying to contrast them to their American counterparts. That
Yeah.
growing up, I remember my mom used to have a lot of books that she was reading from these authors that were writing about things
Yes.
related to prayer versus success and all of
Yeah.
that. All of them were American.
Mhm.
Every single one of them were American. But we have such links to the British that if they were writing, we would have gotten some major gospel songs. What I mean, gospel stuff, testimonies, things related to that. They're very American-esque. That's why I feel like a typical Nigerian will work well in the US setting, because there is that convergence in culture and the way we
Mhm.
look at things. But again, here, it's not the same thing, even though it has a Christian
So
foundation.
are they? Is the environment setting your standard now to the kind of what you believe or what you don't believe?
Yeah. So what? Because you were linking it to aspiration, I was just trying to
Mm.
say to you that when you create a class-based system like the one that Europe, in fact,
Mm.
not just Britain but Europe has evolved with, you will have less, less interest in religion, and religion doesn't tend to be the driving force of that. With good social security systems, people tend to just turn away from it as well. There's also that link
Okay.
where places that have strong social security systems tend to be less religious if you look at the data.
Yeah. Yeah. We get. And I
Places with strong
don't you
context.
think that people people are more religious or tend to not to be religious
Mhm.
because they felt that initially maybe they thought that it is their prosperity is tied to their religiosity,
Mhm.
all right, or those who don't believe that they should be religious
Mm.
feel that they can actually prosper without religion, all right. But what I think, what I know about God is that God is everyone is equal with him. He
Mhm.
created everyone, he loved
Mhm.
everyone equally.
Mhm.
So it does not really say one person, this person believes in me, so he's the one that needs to be rich, or that person does not believe in me, so he does not need to be rich or
Yeah,
something.
but
It's equal.
that's the American
Unbelievers are
mindset.
rich, unbelievers are very rich.
Yes, that's
All
true.
right. There are
But
those that are unbelievers,
mhm,
but they are very rich, they are doing well, they don't have
mhm.
any problem. Whereas there are those that are believers and they are poor.
Yeah,
All right.
but
So
remember that when you have because again, you're coming from the American style liberalism,
mm,
which is that you may have pastors who have churches and all of that, but what you don't tend to have is like formal positions that are almost non-negotiable. If a pastor does something that is wrong, right, the members can literally get the guy out, and there's what I'm trying to say is that if you were a pastor, right,
mm,
your checks and balances your church, like
yeah.
how you coordinate
Hmm.
things. So yes, yes, for the most part, right? So So I'm just saying that people feel relatively more equal. That's why the US had that system of liberalism and equality. But
Mm-hmm.
in Europe, what they had is a structural system. It's
Mm-hmm.
a system where you have the popes, the kings, and then these sets of order.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? So that you don't really aspire as a person, like, it's not wealth that particularly gets you to the key
Mm-hmm.
religious part. And even being the king is hereditary. If your law catches you and he gets married to your sister, then you may get some dukedom, but otherwise you don't have a chance.
So if I be ask you
Yes,
then,
yeah, go on.
why don't you believe in God?
Oh, why don't I believe in God? Because I'm not sure that even if there was God, he wanted me to believe in him or not. I don't think that is. I feel like even if there was a God, that wouldn't be relevant.
So you were once a believer,
Mhm.
and at some point you transited to stop believing.
Yeah,
So what made you shift?
yeah, because I just felt like the well, the Bible felt too inconsistent for me. I just couldn't get past, like, because I was reading it over like several parts, and I was reading over, and the man was reading it. I was like, I'm not. This doesn't really make any sense to me. So it stopped making sense,
And
and
do
that
you
was it.
think that the Bible summarize in entirety who God is?
Look, I think that the Bible has a lot of merits. I think that there is, I would advise people to be Christians.
Yeah.
If you ask me, I'm not what do you call it? I'm not religious, but I will advise people as much as possible to read the Bible, read it if possible, subscribe to the religion, to
No, no.
Christianity. But personally,
What I'm saying
I
is that
just think that,
because
yeah.
why I'm saying this is because you said it's because of the inconsistency in the Bible.
Mm,
All right, that's what I'm saying. That if you believe in God, you're not believing in man. And men, wait, sorry,
yeah.
men came up with the Bible. Men wrote, interpreted the Bible. That's they were the medium through which God expressed Himself. But do you think that the God that the Christians believe in is in totally
I think that they were
is
trying to
summed up in the
represent
Bible?
something. I think
Mhm.
that they were trying to represent something.
Yeah,
I think that different cultures sorry, that
of
existed in
course.
parallels with each other, right?
Yeah,
We're all trying to establish there was something that was actually drawing them in.
yeah.
It is possible that this idea of Yahweh and
Hmm.
versus all the other religions, we had our local ones in
Hmm.
Nigeria, right? All those ones that they were pointing to something that is, that might even be true.
Hmm.
I have just not personally seen any evidence that that spirits are a thing, but I can give that. What I mean is that I'm willing to. Okay, let me just go with that. That spirits actually exist, right? And there is a God. Now, I don't think that again we go back to the Bible. I don't feel like the Bible kind of really explain. I feel like even if there is a God, even if it's true that there is, I don't think that God wants to be figured out or wants to be worshipped or any of those things. I just think that we just started doing that because we liked it,
Okay,
you
so which
know.
means you are part of the Epicureanism, or you are an Epicurean. People who
Or
just believe that everything exists and exists on their own without any interference from any uh, human or any superior being from
afterlife,
anywhere.
no, no. I don't.
Mm.
After what does afterlife look like? Okay, you believe that there's an afterlife, yeah? No, no, I'm just saying that you believe there's an afterlife. Uh, why? No, no. It's actually it's actually relevant. What do you think the afterlife looks like? So we're not so different then. Yeah. I don't have a strong belief. I'm
Mhm.
neither here nor there
Yeah.
in any sort of afterlife. But I feel like, look, I'm alive now. I suddenly realized at 4 that I was a human being, you know, and I'm here. So I'm going to just kind of get through life. And again, I feel like, one of what I feel is the merits of Christianity. I know faith is a personal thing,
Mm.
but I feel like, again, the Bible actually has a lot of merits. And I
Mm.
don't think that I get frustrated with a lot of people who don't believe, whether you believe or you don't believe, but you don't have a solid knowledge of what it's about, like what this book is about, you
Yeah.
know. So